Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Tonight, I'm going to introduce you to a peak performance coach. A peak performance coach. That sounds exciting once you get you going. And I think Leanne Monaghan, who runs a coaching business, a studio, a massage studio, a gym, etc., in Acton, is inspirational in that manner, and hopefully you will motivate us to become our peak performance selves that we could be. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful. Thank you.
So I got to ask you right off the top, is it worth the drive to Acton?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's worth the drive to Staying Alive.
Staying Alive is the name of the studio.
That's right.
Okay, excellent. Yes. And what is peak performance coaching?
Well, it's based on 4 pillars. So it's based on mindset. It's based on your energy, which is partly spirituality. It's based on how you nourish your body. So I'm not using the word diet, I'm using the word nourish. Okay. So how you nourish your body, and then how you move your body. So again, I'm not getting into the word fitness. It's about how you move your body.
So
for peak
nourishment, move, spiritual, and mindset?
Mindset.
Okay, good. And if I came and asked you for some peak performance coaching and we started talking about that, how would you motivate me in those 4 areas?
Well, first of all, I would be asking you about your goals.
Okay.
What would your goal be? Because we all need a destination, right? If you're getting into your car and you don't have a destination to go to, you could be driving around in circles and circles and circles. So we first talk about a goal.
Most people are going to talk about diet and fitness to start with, aren't they? So how do you get into changing it to nourishment and movement and then into spirituality and mindset?
Well, to me, it's about an end result. So yes, we're going to use the word goal because goal is very much in the in the physical world. It's going to move you towards that end result. But what I love is getting people to really paint that picture of what the end result looks like for them. So what does it look like with your health? And I ask questions like, are you a role model for your family? Are you a role model for your community with your health? You know, what would your ideal day look like? How many clients would you see in a day, or what hours would you choose to work in a day? So we paint the picture that way too. What would, your home look like? So we paint the picture in all areas of your life, and then that anchors you in a purpose. And from that end result, then what we get into is your current identity. So where you are right now. And there's a lot of good things about where you are right now, but as you start to uncover, you realize that maybe there are some things that you're not so happy about with yourself. So then once you get radically honest
Radically honest.
What's
yes. Radically honest?
You don't leave any stone uncovered.
How do you do that with people? Lots of people leave they put on masks. They want to, show the world a positive face. How do you get people to leave no stone uncovered?
You look at the results. The results tell a story. So someone can come to me and say, yes, Leanne, I know all about this, or I know all about diet, and they'll, tell me a story. But I'm going to say, well, your results are telling you something different. So let's go there. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, there's no judgment, because when you start to look underneath those stones, as you would say, that's an opportunity for growth. Mm-hmm. And so then what we do from there, so then, results tell the story. They tell a story about what you're thinking. They tell a story about what you're feeling.
So the results being, you take a look at these 4 quadrants and you figure out, what you eat, whether you're overweight, whether you are happy with your mindset. That kind of, do you have a questionnaire that you go through with people? Or?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Oh, I do. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I've spent a lot of time developing these questions, and they're a lot of fun. And when I ask people...
So if I came in, we'd sit down and spend, the first hour going through a bunch of questions?
I would ask you questions and just kind of get a feel for you. And then
that'd be fun. We should do that.
I'd love to do that. That would be a lot of fun, actually. That would be a lot of fun. And then what we do is, from that end result that you've painted about what it is that you'd like your life to look like. You look at where you are currently, and then you build a future identity. Like, who do I need to be?
Really?
To
a future identity.
Yes. So future identity. So,
because you told me something about what brand image isn't past present, it's present future. Is that
right? So a lot of people, that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. So a lot of people, when they come to me, let's just say, for example, it's about releasing weight. All right. But Leanne, it's
releasing
been
weight. Oh, I love that.
Well,
releasing weight.
Okay. The reason why I'm using releasing weight.
I want to release some weight.
Oh, Brian, you're funny. So releasing weight, I'm very mindful about the words that I choose, because if you release weight, it's not going to come back. But if you lose weight, the opposite is
You're going to go
gain.
find it again.
Yeah. So I'm very careful about the word.
I release you weight.
Yeah, I release you.
That's a great line. I love that. Okay.
Oh, thank you. So then they say, but it's been so hard, and these have been the results that I've had in the past, and they'll, tell me a story about what's happened in the past. And I said, that's fine, but that doesn't have to be your story now. That doesn't have to be the way it is now. What if it could be easy this time? What if it could be like that? And then,
so you're saying releasing weight can actually be easy?
It can be, yes.
Really?
If you choose to make that journey easy. It's a choice. You can either make it hard or you can make it easy.
Now, you had posted on social media, and I think we had talked at one point in time about your age, and that you were proud that you were as fit as you are at the age that you are. Why?
Okay, so let's talk about identity. So I really encourage people to use their name whenever they're building their identity. So in my identity, Leanne is a woman who leads by example. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the fitness industry, I'm in the health and wellness industry. I lead by example. And I'm proud of that. I lead by example. I lead by example for how I nourish my body. I lead by example how I move my body. I lead by example with my mindset. So that's just part of my identity.
So what I find inspirational about it is that you put down your age, which isn't 35, and that you were very happy with the shape that you were in and the state that you were in. And that inspired me. And so I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that it inspired you.
It did. We're chatting tonight with Leanne Monaghan, who is a peak performance coach. We're going to take a break for some messages and come back with her and get a little bit more on what peak performance is all about in just a few minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. We're chatting tonight with Leanne Monaghan, who is a peak performance coach. And your studio in Acton is called again, I apologize, I forget it.
Staying Alive.
Staying Alive. How could I forget that? It's the old John Travolta movie, Staying Alive. I love
Exactly.
that. Staying Alive.
Exactly.
The website is what? stayingalive.ca or something like that?
stayingalivefitness.ca or stayingalivewellnessclinic.ca.
stayingalivefitness.ca, stayingalivewellnessclinic.ca. Sounds great. So if you're interested in doing the drive to Acton, you got to check out Leanne Monaghan. Leanne, you talked about the questions that you ask and these 4 different quadrants: mindset, spirituality, nourishment, and moving. And that you sit down with people and ask them a bunch of questions. Mm-hmm. You know what I think would be really fun? Let's give people an example of what it'd be like. Why don't you pretend that we're actually, at the intake session.
Okay.
And you're asking me a couple of questions.
All right.
Does that sound like fun? As a way of giving everyone an example of how to think through some of the issues?
Mm-hmm. I think that this is wonderful. I think this is wonderful. So first of all, I would ask you, what is a goal that you would love to achieve with your fitness and your health?
So I got to tell you, one of the reasons why I really wanted to meet with you again is I've had a couple of friends lately that have ended up either having heart bypasses and or dying because of high cholesterol, heart problems, and other things. And so some of them were fit, but obviously not fit enough. And so I want to live a little longer.
So longevity, would be a goal.
Yeah.
That would be your goal.
I'm not ready to go yet.
And I don't think you should go either. So then currently where you're at right now, if I was to look at what your intake of food is in a day, give me some examples. Like, tell me, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
Harvest Crunch cereal. I love Harvest Crunch cereal.
Okay, good. All right.
But lots of carbs, so probably not good, right?
Well, okay, I actually really love that you're leading into this. So my 3 top tips for eating clean are, is that food, would you recognize that, did it come from a farmer's field? Your Harvest Crunch?
Yeah. No, it came from a packaging place, but a lot of the stuff inside of it came from a field.
Were there less than 5 ingredients?
No, there were more than 5 ingredients.
Okay. And were you able to recognize every ingredient in that cereal?
No.
No.
So I failed all 3.
Well, I'm not going to say failed. Because it's an opportunity to grow.
Yep.
Right? So my 5 top rules are, if it doesn't come from a farmer's field, so I'm talking fruit, vegetables, or meat.
Okay.
Right? Number 1.
So it should have had eggs and bacon.
That could have been a different option. Yes, that's absolutely right. And I usually go by the rule, it needs to be less than 5 ingredients.
Really? Why? Why 5? Because it's processed and overly processed if it's more than 5.
Correct.
And if I put salt on it or some seasoning, does that count as another ingredient?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't say so, no.
Okay, good.
And
is butter an ingredient?
It is, but it's delicious as long as it's grass-fed. And then in the other tip for clean eating is that you're not eating a chemical stew with what you're eating.
Okay.
So then let's talk about that breakfast cereal this morning that you had. So yeah, there were components of it that did come from the farmer's field. There was probably oats in there, maybe almonds, or I'm not 100%
raisins.
Raisins. Okay, so check. Good. But it didn't have less than 5 ingredients. And did you know what the content was for sugar?
I don't.
You didn't. Okay. So there's another. This is about label reading.
Right. So sugar's not good. Sugar's not your friend.
No. Sugar hijacks the brain chemistry.
Sugar hijacks the brain chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
How does sugar hijack the brain chemistry?
Well, it alters the brain chemistry, and I won't get into the science of it, but to me, sugar is just the white form of cocaine.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? Sugar's that bad?
Yes.
Okay.
It is that bad.
Okay, so we've talked about nourishment.
So I've brought your attention that maybe there's an area for growth with your breakfast.
More farmers field stuff, less ingredients, and make sure that it doesn't have sugar.
Yes, and that there's not a lot of chemicals in there,
Gotcha.
processed chemicals.
No chemicals too.
Chemicals too. So that would be how I would maybe explore the nourishing your body.
Okay.
And then I'd educate you and we would have some fun there.
Moving?
So now let's go into movement.
Okay.
So then tell me, what is it, do you count steps? Like what is your,
No.
You don't count steps?
No.
Okay. Do you go to the gym? Do you walk? Nothing?
Yes, I walk, often with a dog, not all the time, but I like to go for just walks, but I don't count steps. And in the summertime, I swim. So I've got a pool and I do laps. Not probably enough, but I love getting in the pool and doing some laps.
Okay. So, and that's perfect. That's a good starting point. So then
But I got to do more. Desperately, I got to do more.
Yes, I would suggest that, especially, you're coming to me because you've had some experience with some friends that have had health issues.
Yeah.
So one of the best ways to counteract all of that is just by building muscle, a good slab of muscle.
And is that cardio or weights or both?
Weight. So cardio
Weights.
is for heart health.
Okay.
Okay. So, and it's also good for burning fat.
Okay.
And
so therefore, why weights?
weights, so as we age, we naturally lose 3% of our muscle mass every year.
What? 3% every year?
Mm-hmm.
God, there's nothing left of me.
Well, there's lots left of you, Brian.
No muscle left.
But yeah, so I have a lot of women that come to me, oh, Leanne, but if we start weight training, we're going to start looking like, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I'm just like, no, that's not going to happen, because you're always just being able to maintain what you're losing.
Right.
So you don't have to fear that. So for a man, it's that much easier because they have that much more testosterone. So I would then maybe help you build a fitness program that suits you. And what suits you does not suit another person, right? So it's all customized.
Okay, so we got to get into mindset before the show's over.
Right.
How do you delve into that?
So with the mindset, I would ask a few questions if you're in growth mode or fix it. And what that means is when people are trying to fix themselves. So say, for example, somebody comes to me and they have a lot of anxiety, or they've maybe had trauma in their past and they're trying to fix themselves. Fixing implies that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
And there is nothing wrong with anybody. We're all divine beings, and what's wrong with us is the programming.
Really?
It's not us at the core.
It's the programming. So how do you
programming.
change the program? Is there a button that you can press?
Well, there is. We can press the easy button and say, okay, we're done with it, and I've made a decision that I'm not going to be, thinking negatively or judging or whatever it is that you want to maybe change about your mindset. But you can do it by affirming, you can do it by auto-suggestion. And another beautiful way, which I find is the easiest way, is to build that future identity that we talked about.
Really?
Who you want
Who
to
I want to
become. So who do I need? So I would ask you, Brian, who do you need to be to achieve the end result of somebody who is a role model for health for their family? Who do you need to be?
Someone a lot different than I am today, that's for sure.
Right. So then what we would do is we would build truths. So
Yeah.
Brian is someone so I'll just say it. Brian is someone who values his health.
So you define that future someone, and that's what your goal is, and your objective. I've I got a story that I want to quickly share with you. I went to Harvard Business School, and I flunked my first marketing exam, which devastated me because I thought I was king hot blank from Ivy School of Business in London, and I was devastated. And I cried, and I thought about going back home and starting my life all over again, and having to admit to everyone that I was a failure and blah blah blah. And that night I wrote on a cardboard piece of paper, George Baker Scholar, which is the one award they give out at Harvard Business School. I posted it on my wall. I looked at it every day. I read it every day. Everyone that came into my house, because my office was in my apartment, saw it. 2 years later, guess what happened?
You won the award.
I did. And you know what? It's interesting because I don't think if I had failed, I would have actually written it down and then worked so hard to achieve that goal. And I don't think if I had not put the goal down on paper and looked at it, I wouldn't have achieved it. So I really think your future, identifying that future self, is really critically important. I agree with that completely. Last question, how do you address spirituality?
Oh, okay. So spirituality, I am a big believer in the universal laws.
Okay.
And spirituality, so I have a 6 a.m. success club where we meet at 6 o'clock in the morning and we study together. And that is one of the topics that actually I'm studying right now, is the universal laws. And then how do the laws then interplay with circumstances that come up in your life? And it gives you a different perspective on what's happening around you. So let's just talk about the law of rhythm. So the law of
The
rhythm.
law of rhythm.
The law of rhythm. So there's ups and there's downs, there's peaks and there's valleys. So
For every action, there's a equal and opposite reaction. Is that a law of rhythm?
No, the law of rhythm is that we would
Cycles.
be going cycles. Okay. Yeah. So you can have cycles within a day, a year. So for example, if your business is going really well,
watch out. There's a rhythm coming.
There's a rhythm coming. But when the rhythm comes, when the valley comes, it's like, oh, okay, I'm in the law of rhythm. And whenever you're on a low, that's the time when you go inward and you're journaling. That's the time when you're in reflection. That's the time whenever you're meditating. And because you know that when there's a down, there's an up.
There's
so
going to be an up.
it's coming
Okay,
around.
that's great.
So how do you
But
do
is there
that?
another law?
Oh, there's lots of laws. Then there's the law of cause and effect. So that's what you were talking
Reaction.
about.
For every action, there's a reaction.
For every action, there's a reaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
This sounds like a fantastic process. I'd love to do this with you.
Well, I would love to have you join me. And can I say one more thing about the future identity?
Yes.
This is the fun part. So first you build it from the end result, who Brian needs to be. And then you know what you do, Brian, is you wear it like a coat for 24 hours. So you be that person for 24 hours. So from whenever you wake up in the morning.
How can I be this thin guy?
Exactly.
I have to get a straitjacket or something.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
You pretend you are.
Well, not pretending.
You believe you are.
You are.
You are. Not believe or pretend you are.
You are. You are. And I have had a lot of success cases with people releasing weight just by in the feeling of them being 10 pounds lighter. And it was easy. The weight just melted off just like that, as opposed to, oh, it's hard.
I had this, I'll give you another little story. I had this interesting experience. I was invited to be in a fashion show. You probably can't imagine me in a fashion show, but I was behind the winner of Canada's Top Model. And I asked her, what do I do? How do I be successful? And she said, I'll give you 3 suggestions. You go out there and you stride strong, confident, and bold. Strong, confident, and bold. I said, okay, but how do I do that? She said, just go and do it and you'll be a star. So I just put my back straight and went out there and was strong, confident, bold, and I got a big cheer. And so it's interesting. You just gotta believe, and you gotta just do it, even if you've never done it before.
Exactly. And I love that, because I talk about the art of expansion. So we're expanding. So you expanded more into a belief. You expanded more into confidence. You expanded more into being bold. And that's an energetic feel. Like, that's a frequency. That's a vibration. And so obviously you're going to get a standing ovation whenever you present like that, because you are. You are.
I really wanted to introduce you to Leanne Monaghan today, because I've had the pleasure of meeting her a few times now. She is an inspirational person, and I think that this Staying Alive clinic in Acton is worth the drive to Acton, or just check her out on the internet. But she's very inspirational, and I like this idea of these 4 quadrants: mind, spirituality, movement, and nourishment. And this idea of the future orientation, thinking about who you are and being it, not just sort of dreaming it, but actually being it. It's pretty good stuff. Anyway, Leanne Monaghan, thank you so much for joining us. Staying Alive Clinic and Staying Alive Wellness.
Staying Alive Fitness.
Staying Alive Fitness, Staying Alive Wellness Clinic.
Yes.
.ca in Acton. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great evening. Good night. Hi, Eva.
Hi, Mr. Aslam. I'm so sorry about the delay in payments. Actually, our team is having trouble sending it to Pakistan.
Don't you have Tap Send?
It's the easiest way to send money to Pakistan. Just download Tap Send from your app store. और मजे की बात ये है कि ईवा को फीस की फिक्र भी नहीं होगी, because Tap Send charges 0 fees at great rate. देखा? पेमेंट मिल भी गई. तो टेंशन किस बात की? बस Tap Send करो.
ना कोई फी, ना कोई इंतजार, बस Tap Send करो.
How you doing, Mira?
Good.
Good job.
Honey, where's the masala for the chicken biryani?
Big
And for the veg biryani?
You're holding it.
तेल मसाला को बहुत
Enjoy the best experience of jewelry shopping with us. Selling and buying of gold and diamond jewelry. We are specialized in all types of precious stone jewelry. We do repairing and cleaning of all types of jewelry. We are Al Noor Jewelers, your best choice. We are located at 7072 Airport Road, Mississauga. Call us at 905-904-0067 or visit our website www.alnoorjewelers.store.
Should I buy investment properties under personal name or under the holding company? That was the question of one of our clients. We helped him to understand pros and cons of each structure and then moved some of his properties under the holding company to reduce his personal taxes. We also set up an insurance policy under the corporation to pay estate taxes if, God forbid, something happens to him. Now he would not only build his wealth most tax effectively, but also preserve that wealth for next generations to come. If you want to eliminate unnecessary taxes and build your wealth and also preserve that wealth for next generation to come, give us a call and we can help. Thank you.
Pan and Shawarma, now serving from 4 locations.
Assalamu alaikum.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम भाई। अम्मी अब्बू की एनिवर्सरी में सिर्फ 2 दिन रह गए हैं।
हाँ यार मुझे पता है, लेकिन काम इतना ज्यादा है, इतनी जल्दी ट्रैवल कैसे मैनेज होगा? अच्छा चलो मैं अब बिजी हूँ, बाद में बात करता हूँ। हेलो, मैचलेस ट्रैवल्स।
हेलो, हाउ कैन आई हेल्प यू सर?
एक अर्जेंट टिकट चाहिए लाहौर के लिए।
नो प्रॉब्लम सर, आप अपनी बेसिक डिटेल्स और डेट्स हमें भेज दें, बाकी आप हम पर छोड़ दें।
और रिटर्न टिकट?
सर मैचलेस ट्रैवल्स पाकिस्तान के 7 शहरों में ऑपरेट करता है। आप किसी भी वक्त हमारे यूएन नंबर पर कॉल करके हमारी बेमिसाल और काबिल एतमाद सर्विस हासिल कर सकते हैं।
हो तमन्ना कोई दिल में तो अधूरी ना रहे, आंख झपके तो जो दूरी है वो दूरी ना रहे। जब भी ख्वाहिश हो सिमट जाए सफर लौट चलें, जब भी याद आए बहन भाई तो घर लौट चलें। सहन के झूले शरारत के जमानों की तरफ, अम्मी अब्बू की मोहब्बत के खजानों की तरफ। आए बचपन की हंसी याद तो जी लें फिर से, घर है खुशियों से फिर आबाद तो जी लें फिर से। मैचलेस ट्रैवल्स, परदेस से अपने देश तक।